Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining me and my family for this special evening, my Bas Mitzvah celebration. A Bas Mitzvah literally means a daughter of mitzvahs. Every Jewish girl, when she turns 12 years of age, becomes fully obligated and privileged to fulfill God's commandments. My parents have always told me I was Miss Independent, but this is a whole new level, and I am loving it. The Talmud tells us that b'zechus nashim titkanyes, nigalu aviseinu mimitzrayim, u'b'zechusam asidim lihigael. In the merit of righteous women, our ancestors were freed from Egypt. The love, sensitivity, inner strength, and selfless dedication that women have displayed for the sake of Torah, mitzvahs, and the continuity of the Jewish people is the secret of our survival. And therefore, I am so honored to join you all, this most esteemed group of Jewish women. I have chosen to share with you a few words about the power of Jewish women, and particularly our unique role and its evolution, in the light of the fact that my Bas Mitzvah takes place between two special days, Shavuos and Gimel Tammuz. Shavuos, Zman Matan Terasenu, is the day on which we relive Hashem's making us his people, giving us his Torah, and charging us with the mission of making the world into a godly place. The holy day of Gimel Tammuz will be the 29th birthday of the Rebbe who taught our generation how to serve Hashem and how to make our modern world into that godly place. Shavuos. Before Hashem gave the Torah to the Jewish people, Moshe was commanded to speak with them and prepare them for the great event. So shall you say to the house of Jacob, and speak to the sons of Israel. Reflecting on the dual house of Jacob, and then sons of Israel, our sages say, first Moshe spoke with the women, the Beis Yaakov, and only later the men, the Bnei Yisrael. Some commentators explain that when Hashem commanded Adam not to eat from the tree, he never spoke directly to Chava. And look how that turned out. So, this time, Hashem decided to start with the women. If they will keep the Torah, then the men will surely do so too. Other commentaries, commenting on the word Saimer vs. Saged, explain that literally it means speak gently to the women and speak harshly to the men. They explain that men need harsh words, knowledge of the punishments for not keeping the mitzvahs. But the women should be spoken to gently, emphasizing the beauty and the great reward for fulfilling the mitzvahs. So, for the giving of the Torah, Hashem made sure to get the women on board. If Torah is to be transmitted to the generations to come, the women are key. They are the keepers of Jewish continuity. They, and they alone, determine the Judaism of their offspring. They are the primary creator of the direction of the home, the standard of the Jewish atmosphere, and how the children would be educated. For thousands of years, teachings like these were sufficient to inspire, uplift, and bring incredible meaning to Jewish women and their role within Judaism. In modern times, though, the dramatic changes in society have sometimes caused the traditional Jewish role of women to be called into question. Especially since, to modern sensibilities, it seems that the Torah's role for women is as second-class citizens. Gimel Tammuz. In our generation, the Rebbe took the teachings of old and shed new light and clarity upon them, all without veering, God forbid, one drop from the Torah view. He made the Torah accessible and relevant even to our modern sensibilities. In explaining why Hashem spoke to the women first, the Rebbe explained that the women were first to receive the Torah because in their merit, the Jewish people left the Egyptian exile. It was they who had exceptional faith and self-sacrifice, even during the most difficult times of slavery. faith that Hashem would take them out one day, and therefore the sacrifice to bring new children into the world, thereby ensuring a Jewish future and meriting their redemption. The Rebbe taught that women are the leaders in faith in Hashem, and that women are the guardians of the Jewish people. By establishing Jewish households, by setting the Jewish atmosphere for the family, by exhibiting the intuitive faith that women generally are more open to than men, these form the very foundations of Judaism. This is not a secondary role, but the primary role in the continuity of Judaism and of the Jewish people. In the teaching mentioned before, that Hashem spoke gently to the women versus harshly to the men, this commentary may have been understood to mean that women are too sensitive, too weak, or too volatile to be told things as they are. Instead, they need to be handled with kid gloves, very gently and carefully. So speak gently with them. The Rebbe, however, explained it differently. You see, the ultimate goal of the giving of the Torah was to transform the world to the way that Hashem wants it to be. The world, as it was created, does not readily accept or agree with the values of Hashem and Yiddishkeit. Our job is to change that. But there are two ways to go about changing the world and everything in it. One is to fight everything that is worldly or materialistic, to force the world to see Hashem, and to conform to His Torah. The second way is not to force the world to see Hashem, because when you force something or someone, it doesn't last. As soon as they have the chance, they will go back to the old way. Instead, the second way is to educate, to lead by example, to create an atmosphere where the world itself, gently and from within, comes to recognize its godly origins. Not by force, but by education, by revealing that all of the capabilities and talents and self is from Hashem and an expression of Hashem. For the first few thousand years since the giving of the Torah, the battle between the forces of the spiritual and the physical was just that. A battle, a war, a fight. As the Gemara says, Ish darka lichbaish, the male way, the masculine way to get things done is by conquest. The world has been dominated by men and by masculinity. Force, conquest, direct action. For years, this has been the only language the world understands. This was a world that was dominated by men, and women were often seen as second class. Though Jewish women knew differently, that's how the world and worldliness saw it. Men are better at conquering. Then the world started to change. The world came to see that men and women are equal. They have equal importance. The Rebbe embraced this vision wholeheartedly, and as we'll see, he went even further. But first, an important point. With all of the equality that modernity brought, a grave error was made. Instead of recognizing the unique, distinctive, and special characteristics of women and elevating women and their uniqueness as valuable and important and critical to the world and its development, instead of that, modernity said, women can and should be exactly like men. Right at the moment that women are finally recognized, society takes away their special characteristics and instead demands of them to be just like men. What a wasted opportunity. Instead, the Rebbe taught that as we grow closer to Mashiach, the unique and special feminine way, their way of bringing change, needs to be celebrated. Not by conquest, but by nurturing the already existing spirituality and godliness in each thing. Not by forcing godliness upon the world, but by educating the world to recognize that we are here to serve Hashem. This is the meaning of Kai Semra Lebeis Yaakov, that Hashem spoke to the women gently, in a feminine voice, not in a manner of force or dominance, but instead in a voice that helps a person find godliness from within, in a gentle way, in a loving way, in a caring way, to find our inner voice. That is the power of femininity. This voice is no less powerful and is far more integrative than any masculine expression of dominance. This, then, is the more gentle, feminine way of dealing with adversity or change or transformation from within. And this, the Rebbe taught, is the ultimate purpose of the giving of the Torah. Not simply to subdue the world or to force the world to see Hashem and his godly world vision, but instead that the world should come to appreciate the beauty of Torah and mitzvahs, softly and gently. In short, the Messianic dream is a more feminine approach, a more feminine world, a world where the feminine is truly valued. This is the meaning of B'zichus Nashim Tzidkaniyos. In the merit of the righteous women, we will go out of this exile. With their merit, with their method, with their clarity, we will leave Galus and bring Mashiach. Not simply as equals with the men, but as it says in the time of Mashiach, Nekeva Teseviv Gever, the feminine will surround and be above the masculine. Everyone will come to recognize the true inherent value of the feminine. So we see, as the Rebbe did with so many things, he turned it around. Hashem speaking gently wasn't because the women are weak and can't handle it. Instead, he spoke to the women gently because this is how Torah should be internalized. In a manner of women's deep, quiet strength and fortitude. And this was the ultimate purpose of why God gave the Torah, to change the world from within. And therefore, he started with Saimer Lebeis Yaakov, speak gently and to the women first. This is perhaps why we find that the Rebbe, in his plan to bring Mashiach, by including everyone in this work and sending shluchim throughout the world, he always included the shluchais, not as simply schlepping along with their husbands, but as equal but different partners in the shluchos. Our Rebbe was the one who introduced special farbringings for the women. The Rebbe introduced yechidus for the ladies. He introduced dollars for the ladies. In short, the Rebbe made real Hasidim of the ladies, not as wives or daughters or sisters of the Hasidim, but the women as Hasidim themselves. On my Bas Mitzvah, as a letter expressing the Rebbe's brachas to me, was just read, I hope to be a true Bas Chabad, to be a Chassid and one day a Shlacha of the Rebbe, as he empowered all of us to be. In that vein, on the day of my Bas Mitzvah, I will Emir Hashem be going to the Ayah, to daven for myself and my family. It would be a great honor to take all of your names with me, to mention all of you for brachas by the Rebbe. We've prepared papers on which you can write your name, your mother's name, and your request on. It's always a good thing, but especially when we go to the Ayah to take on a mitzvah. So we've prepared tzedakah boxes for you to decorate and take home and put coins in every day, and especially before lighting Shabbos candles. Before I end this speech, I would like to take this opportunity to thank a few special people. Thank you to all of my teachers and educators from Jewish Beginnings and Bader Hill Academy, my friends, and my family. My siblings, Zadie, aunts, uncles, and cousins, who have always given me your unconditional love. Finally, a very special thank you to Mommy and Tati for putting up with my incessant speaking about this day for years. And thank you to my Bubby Schmutkin, who is not only my Bubby, but for most of my life was my principal. We are so lucky that from all of our cousins, we are the ones who get to see you and Zadie all the time. Bubby and Zadie, I love you.